come through their ministry. So we have some, go ahead, Don, and some pictures are coming up. There's our group, the day we were leaving. What turned out to be the longest day. This is Dave and Jan as they were bidding us farewell. And this here is this little rubble area. This was where the church was 3 years ago when I was there. That little tiny area. This is the new building that's been constructed. There are windows up at the top, but no windows at the bottom. The doors will be coming, and the windows will be coming the next couple of weeks. And so we are very thankful to be a part of helping do some painting there. The next slide, this is the mission, this is the Brazil Missions Team Covenant. So I'm going to ask our young people if you would come on up here, and I'll stand down there with you guys. If everyone can come up, Bruce, come on up, Sue. And we're going to read this for you. Can you guys read it for me here? Yeah. Okay. You turn around right there. Just right there. This is the Team Covenant. We met for 2 months prior to our leaving. So let's read this together, gang. Okay? I purpose to exhibit the fruits of the Spirit of others on this team and to the Brazilians whom I'm seeking to serve. I purpose by God's grace not to complain or argue, but to build others up, to grow closer to God, demonstrate my dependence on Him. Desire a deeper understanding of missionary life and keep my focus on Christ. Okay, if you guys can have a seat here in the front row, and they're going to be coming up here in a few minutes. Do we have another slide before Bruce? No, that's it. Okay, that's fine. Dave and Jan have some property came available to them behind their house about 15, 20 years ago. And they were able to purchase it, build a beautiful conference center on this location, right behind their house. So that's where we stayed. And short-term mission trips educate in ways that can't be done here in the States. It helps the attendee to be engaged in a cross-cultural ministry. And they impact lives. Lives are changed by such. Our group consisted of my wife Susan, Bruce Hughes, Allie Orth, Derek Troxel, Sam Orth, and Natalie Hellman. Natalie and her family were on vacation, so her report will be in a video that we took at the airport. And so each one is going to share something about the trip. But first, let me just simply say that the group represented Holt Baptist Church very well. Never did I hear a complaint. Seriously. Each one willingly served whenever asked. Our motto became flexibility, from an hour delay in leaving to being unable to paint the church the first week due to the cold snap, to leaving to missing our flight in Washington, D.C. The group will fill in all those details, but I just want to thank them for a job well done. And I was very pleased with how each one functioned on this trip. So Bruce, you're up. Come on.
I'm glad to report to you today that I am changed. I've come back different than when I left. And I'm going to share with you how you also can be changed as a result of this mission you so generously supported. I fell in love with Dave during this trip. His commitment to the Lord and his unceasing energy was an inspiration that I have to share with you. He had such an impact. People he met on the street, he talked to. He shared his faith, he shared his true love of God, and he actively invited them into his church. Watching him at work was amazing. Knowing that every person he met was a mission opportunity deepened to me the understanding of what missionary work is really all about. It's not just in the foreign field, it's at home as well. The people in his church were unbelievably warm. I've never seen so much hugging and kissing since the last makeout session I went to with my wife. People I didn't know were hugging me and kissing me, and I loved it. On the cheek. Yes. Well, not when I was with my wife, but at the church. It was a very warm situation. I felt completely comfortable, even though I couldn't always speak to the people. The fact that we all made an effort, and we all did, brought them alive, and they were able to share with us information about themselves and how wonderful it was for them to be part of the church. One of the people I met was Victor. Victor is about my age. I hope I don't look quite as old as Victor, but Victor was great. He's an assistant to Dave. He helped him in many, many ways. He was always there behind the scenes, always doing things. Much of the great work at the church, the floors, the work around the doors and so on, were the result of Victor. He did a fantastic job also at the retreat house. He's such a blessing to the church that he was, again, an inspiration to me. I thought of Bill several times. I'm going to ask to give a challenge to the members of this church based on what I saw in Sao Paulo and the church members there. If every member of this church every week invited just one person to our Sunday service, I can just imagine how exciting this church would become in a very short period of time. Every member, every week, one invitation. Share your faith. Tell them about the gospel if you can. If you can't, at least get them to come, and I'm sure that the leadership here will help you get that job done. But I was so excited by the environment in Sao Paulo that I believe that we can get that environment here too if we just set our minds to it. Praise the Lord.
Hi there. First of all, I just want to thank you all for supporting us, not just financially, but also your prayers and just having people come up to me and say that they're thinking of me and they have been praying for me and the whole team this past 2 weeks. It was a real huge encouragement, and it couldn't have been possible without you guys. So it was freezing in Brazil the first week that we got there. It was the coldest it had been in 52 years. So 45 degrees about during the day, and Brazilians don't have heat. So we were in sweatshirts and sweatpants all the time, and jackets. Yeah, we had a little fire that helped a little bit. And Sam and Derek, and I actually jumped in the pool too, but Pastor Froman didn't get a picture. We did jump in on the coldest day of the year, just to say we did, after we did like a quick little workout session. The picture you saw earlier of the bed, I had 3 comforters on my bed, and so did Natalie, and that's how we stayed warm. We woke up with our noses cold and didn't want to get out of bed because it was a little bit miserable. But then it warmed up to the 80s the second week, so it was okay. I think God did that so we would appreciate the warmth He gave us. So because we couldn't paint at the church because it was so cold the first week, the paint wouldn't have dried correctly on the cement, we were able to help out the Santos family and paint in their house, which they totally did not want that because they wanted us to be out serving the church and serving the members of the church, and they felt maybe almost like it was a little selfish to have us working at their house. But Jan had planned on painting back in March, and then it never happened. And so we really wanted to get it done before they came to the States for 2 months. This is the office. Well, that one was the office. This is the guest bedroom that we painted. That's after it's painted. The pictures before with the flowers and stuff on the wall, that's what it looked like before. So we got that done. I don't know why that's there right now. And this is at someone's house. We were able to go help out one member from where they currently are. The family's moving upstairs because she's having a baby, and so they need a little bit more space. So we got to sand an entire room that they had spackled, and it was awesome. And it felt like it was snowing, and the grandma was playing Celine Dion Christmas music, so it was okay. Someone told me before I went on the trip, you cannot prepare yourself for the poverty that you're going to see, and that is so true. When we were working on the church the past few days, or the last few days of the trip, we walked to a restaurant for lunch, and as we were walking, we saw shacks, we saw kids, without shoes, kids running around, tons of people outside that you could just tell were so poor, and there was a creek running through one area that just smelled like bathroom. It was horrible and awful, and it sounds cliche, but it really made me happy for what I have here, and really appreciate what God has given us and how He has blessed us. This is the church that Castro Elvis started in, or that's the building, I should say, and luckily they're in a much bigger, nicer building now. And that's us eating at the restaurant. One of the church members is a manager there, so we went there twice. It was so good. It was all you can eat meat and liver. Derek really likes the liver. Oh, he kind of liked it. And then, this I considered a huge blessing when we missed our flight to DC after we had sprinted through the DC airport. We were able to get a little tour around DC as we were waiting for our flight later that night. And I had never been to DC, and Sam had neither, and a couple others I don't think had been there. But our shuttle bus driver was super awesome, took us around all these places, and it was just so refreshing coming back and seeing this beautiful green, clean air. Sao Paulo was great, but there were just so many people, and it was just a huge change to be back here. And it was really cool to see because I had never been to DC before. Thank you.
All right, before I start, I just want to thank everybody for praying for the team and me as we were on the trip. It was just awesome. So to start out, we were supposed to go and work at the church the first week. Like Ali said, though, it was too cold. Well, one of the days we were supposed to go, the van broke down. The glow plugs went out in it and couldn't go for another couple of days. So what ended up happening was Dave took us in his car, and then we got to ride with Victor. He's a crazy driver, by the way. So in this picture, this is one of the rooms we painted. It's kind of like their fellowship hall. I got to do the trim around the top of it, and we didn't have a ladder, or I didn't get to use the ladder at that point. I got to use that sketchy table right there. And it felt like it was about to collapse every second. We got to paint 2 rooms on the side of it, and then the problem was the group before us, or one of the church people, I guess it was, they had been using the rollers and they got too close to the walls. So we were painting the other walls white, or cream, I guess, whatever. They got too close to the walls and we couldn't really paint over it very well. Still showed through. So eventually we got to go to our own little tourist days, I guess. We got to go to a place called Ningbo. And it was like this, like art town, and you got to look around and see all the cool stuff people have made for people to buy and stuff. And then I guess a lot of us didn't end up getting that much because we had just figured out just traded in our money, and it was an AI, which is their currency, is twice as much. So everything got like super expensive to us, and then So good. So one of the other tourist day we had, we went downtown, and it was cool because you got to see all the people's like faces and like the diversity and stuff. And then Sam and I also like the car shops around. There's like Ferraris, just Lamborghini, Aston Martin, stuff like that. It was awesome. Finally, we had me, Natalie, Sam, and Caitlin were the ones that like hung out like all the time. We were always hanging out like in the back seats of the cars. Just, it was great. And then it felt like we've been like knowing each other for years. It was, Caitlin is Dave and Jan's daughter, and she pretty much served as our translator because everyone else is away. And we just like hung out all the time. That's us playing Sorry, and never could complete a lot of our games. I don't think really. Let's see. So that's it.
Hey Natalie,
And
how was your experience in Brazil?
it was good.
What was your favorite part?
Well, everything really, but eating and like food.
All right. What challenged you?
Talking to everyone because I speak English and they speak Portuguese, but it was fun, like with the challenge, hearing them speak and having a translator stuff.
Did you meet a new friend?
Caitlin
Ah.
Santos, she's a year older than me. She's like super beautiful.
What about the people of Brazil?
They're so nice and selfless, and I don't know, they just, like, even though they never met us, it was as if they already knew us for years. They just invited us into their home.
How did God work in your heart during the missions trip?
Well, I've always thought of doing missions, and either in a different country or still in the U.S. So going on this missions trip, it has brought me more into my thinking of it, and it's just brought me closer to Christ, with hearing people's testimonies, and yeah.
Okay, now tell me the funniest moment.
Sam, Derek, Caitlin, and I, we made this Instagram video where Caitlin has these cosmetology, just like heads to work on for her class, and I put that in my sweatshirt, and her name was Viola, and we made this video where Sam comes and like rips my head off and I fall, and then Derek comes and like puts my head under his shirt and runs away.
Oh boy. Well, it sounds like you had a great time and the Lord worked in your heart. It was successful and prayers were answered.
Yeah. No, I guess like thank you for everyone who supported me and prayed for me, and thank you for allowing me this opportunity to go on this trip.
Okay, great, thanks. Oh, looks like you got some company. Wonderful. Thanks a lot, Natalie. Have a good time on camping. Bye-bye.
First of all, I want to say thank you for letting me go again and supporting me again. It was awesome. Learned just as much the second time as I did the first time. First, we got food, because everyone loves food. And, first night we went out, we went to a all-you-can-eat pizza place. And I mean, this is awesome, because you don't even have to get up, they bring it to you. It's so good. And they also had dessert pizza, and that is like a chocolate sauce layering underneath, and then M&Ms on top. So it's like chocolate overload, but it's still really good. And usually for lunch, Dave would usually go out and get something. This day we got Habib's. It's like a Middle Eastern fast food place. Got little pizza things. They're pretty good. The record for eating them was 23, held by Santos' son. But there wasn't enough for me to break it, so we didn't. This year, we went to a restaurant. It's called the Churrascaria, or something like that. And it's just meat, basically. They just bring you a bunch of different meat on skewers. You can't really see the meat, but you have these tongs, and you grab the food, or you grab the meat slices as they cut, because you're not supposed to touch things with your hands, which is also very hard, because I use my hands a lot. Oh, this is the market that we went to downtown. And that is a pig face. This is the fruits, and this is like the rest of the market, and the fruit and other things like fruit there is like crazy. They have like those orange things are tangerines. They're giant. They're not even like what. And this is some other like market place where you can get food and kind of restaurant-y places. This is a bonfire pit. We tried to have a bonfire as much as possible when it was warm enough to. That's Natalie and Caitlin. Super weird. We would talk about the day when you're out there, kind of debrief about the day, and we just basically had a lot of fun just out chilling in the backyard. This is Vivi, ANP. She gave her testimony, and it's kind of intense. She grew up in her home, and her mom practiced voodoo, so it was really intense. And she said that there are things she still has nightmares about today. And this is Jasa. She also gave her testimony. She grew up not even in that house. This is Mazinia, in our testimony that we want in her daughter, Bianca. That's Paulo and Dave translating. Dave translated all the testimonies for us so we can understand that. Paulo is the co-pastor at the church. He's in seminary, I think, right now, right? Yeah, he's in seminary right now, so he's learning. That's it. Thank you.
Well, I just want to thank everybody also for supporting us to go to Brazil. It was definitely a trip filled with what we needed, flexibility, and it was great to be there after having been there a few years ago, and seeing the people once again, and also children that they've had now, and when the little kids have grown, and just to see how they're doing, and just to hear about many of their lives. There's some that are actually training for ministry that are going, and some girls that have met guys that want to go into ministry, and just how God's expanding that that field of work, and also to hear some struggles, and some that were very strong in the Lord and now are experiencing not growing and so giving us more prayer requests. So it was a joy to just, get reacquainted with them. Also, we had an opportunity on Sunday morning for the kids to give their testimonies. And it was a real blessing for me hearing them and seeing how God is working in their lives. And also how they could encourage the people of Castor Owls in how God is working in their lives, how God can work in their lives. And also, just a special note, I loved getting to know these kids a little bit more. It was such a joy, and they have such sweet hearts for serving, and God is working in all their lives. There was also a service that night where they have worship time, and being in a worship service, you want to just sing right along, and you can't because it's all in Portuguese. But what Jan did was she took all the testimonies, including Fred and mine from the night before, and incorporated them theme-wise into all the songs that were sung in the worship time. So that helped us with knowing, what the songs were about, so we could worship along with the Portuguese singing. So I really enjoyed going. Again, I have to say, I love being home, but it's a joy to see how God is working in other countries. And Dave was an encouragement to really take those opportunities daily to pray for wisdom and how God wants to use us in individuals' lives. What? Pete's coffee. The Brazilian coffee? Oh, it was good. It was, we're used to kind of like a bite to it, and this is just like strong but smooth. And every afternoon, it cracked me up because I'm not used to this, but Dave felt like it was just such a treat, and it was to stop for an espresso. And so these, as you can see, the cups are like this big, but super, super strong, and about that much whipped cream on top too, and it was delicious. They also like it sweet too.
We were surprised how quickly Sue painted.
But just experiencing the culture there was really, really, really fun. So, and there's one more slide. Okay.
There's not.
No.
Nope. Done. Thank you again.
Sue and I were asked to speak at a Saturday night event, or this is Sunday morning. Sunday morning, we went to Alfredo's church. I met him 3 years ago at the pastor's conference, and he pastors not too far. São Paulo's 22 million people. So this is a church where I spoke Sunday morning, and this is, again, a walk down from Dave's church, on a very steep hill, going down and coming up. And then this is Saturday night where Sue and I spoke, and we're very pleased with how God worked that evening, spoke about the gospel's impact on marriage. One man approached Dave and asked him to meet with him to get some things right. This is Dave and I meeting with Paulo, who is the pastor in training, co-pastor right now. A wonderful time of sharing some ministry joys and prayer requests. And we were also able, we've been praying as a church for Juan and P. Sue and I were really impressed with Juan and P. 3 years ago, had a real desire to serve the Lord, but in the last year and a half, they've really fallen away from the Lord. Coming to church, we're just really distracted. And we just saw a real breakthrough on Wednesday night. Juan asked to speak with me and Dave, and just really surrendered, confessed his backslidden state, and made some things right. And also thankful on Thursday, just before we left, another victory at Cocoa, and his